Dreams about Randy. No one does it like you do it.
Playoffs!
Playoffs! Every time. All right, we've got 8 head coaching openings. A quarter of the league is looking for a new coach after all the changes in the last week. And, of course, the most prominent, John Harbaugh, no longer there in Baltimore. Schefter is in the Domino's pregame headquarters with all of the insight. Schefter, go.
All right, Greeny, shortly after the Dolphins hired John Eric Sullivan as their new general manager on Friday, they reached out to John Harbaugh's representatives for the first time to see if they could get into the bidding in the sweepstakes for the most hotly sought-after coach in this hiring cycle. Now, John Harbaugh has extreme interest from the New York Giants, from the Atlanta Falcons, from the Tennessee Titans, from the Cleveland Browns, and he is expected to start his visits this week. It's possible the Giants could be the first visit he takes this week, but he wants to meet with a couple of teams and take his time and figure out where he's going. And just as he is the most sought-after coaching candidate available in this particular cycle, his former team is the most desirable landing spot for head coaches. They've already interviewed Kevin Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator, Davis Webb, the Broncos quarterbacks coach, and the Broncos defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. You see some of the other candidates there, Brian Flores, Matt Nagy, Robert Saleh, Cliff Kingsbury, Anthony Weaver, Joe Brady. There are a slew of candidates, and that won't be all. There'll be other candidates interested in this job again. Just like John Harbaugh got a whole bunch of teams' attention, the Baltimore Ravens opening got the attention of more coaches than people even realize. We'll see where this search takes the Baltimore Ravens in the coming days and weeks.
Now, Schefter, it makes sense. It's just not often that a job comes available where you have a 2-time MVP quarterback who is still very much in his prime. So as we talked about this at length as a group last night, I think the most interesting part of the conversation was this. What role should Lamar Jackson have in choosing who the new coach is? How critical is that, and is his input required for this?
I'm not sure his input is required. It probably will be. Listen, I think it's important that they make the best decision at the head coach. Go get the best guy for the job. But listen, for a team and organization that has a culture of defense, obviously even going back to your time there, Rex, you've got an MVP candidate quarterback in his prime. You've got a window here to maximize that. Maybe it is a time to go offensively, at least look in that direction. Imagine Lamar with one of the best offensive minds in football, if you can go pull this off and maximize this, right? I know he was injured this season. Last year, you can make an argument this was the greatest quarterback, the season at quarterback in the history of the NFL. This guy still has several years in front of him at that level. Should we go maximize that opportunity?
Yeah, he's had multiple seasons where he has just blown up. I mean, statistically, I mean, I think it's more, I mean, offensive head coach, sure, but who's going to reach Lamar? I mean, there are love affairs out there in terms of head coach quarterback relationships. I mean, it is just so synergistic, just two people that are on the same wavelength. I mean, the Rams come to mind with McVay and Stafford. There's so many out there. How important is that relationship to Lamar? And if Harbaugh, I mean, you know Harbaugh, we've all seen him coach throughout the years. I mean, stand-up individual. If Harbaugh couldn't reach Lamar Jackson, who are you going to bring in there that can reach him? I think that's very important that the quarterback has to have input, because if I can't relate to this guy, you're going to have some of the same problems.
Well, I think it's really interesting. I mean, obviously, you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Hall of Fame running back to build your offense around. But it's that defense. Like, this has a historic defense.
Yeah.
They got to get back to being that kind of defense if they're going to be championship caliber. I think that's what let this team down.
No question.
I thought Todd Monken did an outstanding job with this offense. So, and you're going to bring in an offensive-minded coach? I don't think that's necessary. I think you have to bring in a leader. Number one, he's replacing, all right, in my opinion, the best coach in the National Football League in John Harbaugh. And we see the difference a great coach makes. I want to get to Harbaugh for a second. Okay? Because, look, great coaches come in. Mike Vrabel came in. How'd New England look this year? Pretty damn good. How about Ben Johnson? You can see the difference of a great coach.
Yes.
Well, this coach is that and then some. So whoever gets John Harbaugh, look out. NFL, look out. If you're a team, you're hoping he doesn't be in your conference, your division. No chance about it. So now I will say this. The Ravens are an outstanding organization. They've had 2 coaches in 29 seasons. All right. So, I mean, incredible run right there. So you're going to get stability with that group. The other thing is that scouting department does an outstanding job of knowing what they're looking for and identifying players.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always going to be in place as long as Ozzie Newsome's there.
No one else thought Lamar could play quarterback, right? And
yeah,
obviously
Ozzie
they identified
did,
that.
And Eric DeCosta.
They're both unique. Listen, to have a guy like John Harbaugh on the open market, to have, 18 years of experience.
Then why are
and
we
to bring
here?
what he brings.
Why are we here?
I cannot remember a job opening that the Ravens present. I cannot remember it in recent history. To have a player like Lamar, this roster, 2 years ago they had 11 Pro Bowlers. This is an enormous opportunity, but they do have to get this right.
We're talking about, Coach Harbaugh. Coach Harbaugh is a great coach, but I really think when you're talking about Lamar Jackson and the search for a new head coach, the next head coach that comes into Baltimore needs to be able to bring out the best in Lamar Jackson. What are you saying? Coach Harbaugh didn't bring the best out? No, I'm not saying that. Coach Harbaugh brought the best out of Lamar Jackson in the regular season. What I need Coach Harbaugh to do, or the next coach in, to bring the best out of Lamar in the postseason. All this talk about 2-time MVP in the regular season, putting up these numbers, but when it comes to the postseason play by Lamar Jackson, it just goes down. Whoever the next man is, offensive guy, Rex, I'm going to have to, go against you there. The next guy that they need to bring in, because we've been talking all year about what Liam Cohen has done out there in Jacksonville, what Ben Johnson has done in Chicago. So the next coach to come in for Baltimore needs to bring out the best of Lamar Jackson. And I don't just mean the regular season, postseason, because this still is one of the better teams in all of football with one hell of a roster. So I want to see what happens with their coaching search.
But it's funny because that's where I'm going to push back on you guys a little bit about the offensive coach. Mike Vrabel,
shocker.
His guy, of course, never hire a damn offensive coach. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll say this. Look, Mike Vrabel, nobody had a better impact on a quarterback than Mike Vrabel did.
Yeah.
All right, his quarterback.
Josh McDaniels is unbelievable.
Josh McDaniels.
You bring the right
offensive
coordinator.
Coordinator and let him run that system, that vision for your system. And I think that's more important than just saying we're going to grab the best offensive.
Yeah, playoff performances with Lamar. This is why what it's all about and why we're here. I think the relationship with Lamar and Harbaugh had something to do with this. I disagree with you a little bit, Moss. We both know. All of us. Just get us to the playoffs. Players have to take responsibility and make the plays when we're in position. They've failed the last 3 years. I've said it the entire year how their previous seasons have ended. Turnovers, mistakes, all by players in critical moments. And with that, in the relationship with the quarterback, now the quarterback's not happy. Now one of the best coaches that we've seen in the last 2 decades is for a new
everything
job.
that's happened in Baltimore, you blaming the offensive quarterback or you blaming the team? Because last time I checked, Mr. Defense Coordinator, head coach, it was all about this defense. Starting with Matabike up front. I think he was, hobble with the neck. Yep. This re-signing Hamilton, bringing in Humphreys. They had all of these guys on the defensive side. So bringing in a guy defensively, Rex, and it's the last time I'm going to say this. Bringing in a guy in defensively, will Lamar Jackson respect this type of head coach? Or is he going to respect the coach that's going to fire up the whole team? An offensive coordinator is just going to fire up a selected few and those 11 on offense. A head coach that's going to fire up the whole team and bring the best out of his team. That's what an offensive coach would do.
100%. He's got to be a leader and a guy that can motivate, have a vision for the team, absolutely, over everything else. But I will say this, Lamar Jackson is going to be sitting back going, we need to stop somebody, too. You want to motivate Lamar Jackson? How about get him the ball back?
Yeah,
last year's defense, that's what let John Harbaugh down, was his defense last year.
Feels like a crossroads, really, for Lamar Jackson, right? Chapter 2 of his career begins now. Chapter 1 was about as good as almost anyone's ever, but we know about the postseason failures. Chapter 2 begins with a new coach starting next season. Meanwhile, the playoffs begin today with